The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 756. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a singer-songwriter, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Raye Zaragoza. Raye, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more by yourself to the listeners.
Sure. Hey, Sheena, how are you? Thanks for having me. So my name is Raye Zaragoza. I'm born and raised in New York City. I moved to Los Angeles as a teenager and then back to New York. So I've pretty much just bopped around New York and LA my whole life. So I'm a big city girl. I started songwriting in high school, and now I do that for my full-time living. I tour about 80% of the year, and I come from a very diverse background. My mom is an immigrant from Japan, but she's also Taiwanese, and my dad is Native American and Mexican. So my upbringing definitely really shapes the way I look at the world. It definitely has shaped my songwriting and the stories I share. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Raye, what's your favorite self-confidence quote?
There are so many. A lot of them, honestly, that come to mind are not famous quotes or anything that you'd find online. But I remember just someone telling me this, and I honestly can't even remember who told it to me. But they said that what you are doing is so much cooler than what everyone else is doing because it's happening to you, So no matter, you can compare yourself to other people, and, that person can compare themselves to you, and you can compare themselves to that person. But what you're doing is better because it's happening to you, because you're the one who gets to experience it. And that, can apply to any single person in the world. And so you are the one who's in your body. You're the one who gets to experience it. So you might as well enjoy it and be proud of it and own it and be happy that it's happening to you.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And Raye, in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
How do I define self-confidence? I define self-confidence as embracing the things about you that are the things that, are quirks and are kind of funny things that we really found, especially at a young age, that were so unique to us, that brought us so much joy, that were just so authentically us, and leaning into those things, embracing them and sharing them and not being ashamed of them. And so, yeah, I really think that when we live fearlessly and we face ourselves with just complete authenticity and humility, that's when we find our truest selves, and that's when we're truly happy.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Raye, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Before I discovered self-confidence, I've learned how to confront jealousy. That's been a process for me my whole life. I think as a young girl, I always was very competitive, and that definitely translated into jealousy. I've realized that sometimes, when I'm trying to put this into words, I've realized that sometimes when you feel jealous, you just have to figure out exactly why you're feeling that way. And sometimes it's a motivation, I'm jealous of this person because I want to be their friend. And so once I really learned how to turn jealousy into something productive, like making a new friend, or if I see a musician, I'm like, wow, what they're doing is so cool, and I wish I was doing that, instead of kind of building up this hostility and, hey, you inspire me, you're really cool, I want to learn from you, can we be friends? And even if that message isn't responded to, I feel like I could turn the bad into the good. But before I found that confidence and that assurance in myself, I had some debilitating nights of jealousy where I would cry and just be so sad in how I was, and and just be I didn't really feel comfortable in my own skin. I think I dealt a lot as a young child really being in denial and ashamed of being a woman of color and being the daughter and am a minority. That brought me a lot of insecurity. I used to wake up in the morning and do things like put lemon juice all over my skin because I wanted to lighten my skin pigmentation, because I was so ashamed of having dark skin. I used to try to wear colored contacts, and I just wanted to I was so ashamed of being a woman of color, and that that took a lot of reflection and a lot of soul searching to figure out like, hey, wow, this is not me. I am beautiful the way I am, and I'm proud of it. And it takes a lot of healing, but when you come out the other side, it's just a really beautiful time. But before I found self-confidence, like, man, like in high school, I was pretty tortured, and I was really sad and really insecure and just really trying to fit in with people who were actually really mean to me and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a long journey, and I'm still on the journey, but I think you just got to lean into the things that are truly you and go from there.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think, a lot of us go through that, especially like being Asian, just feeling like, well, we're the model minority, and it's always been like that. Society programs us to be that way, not realizing like, we're not a minority. We are who we are, and we should be proud of our culture, regardless, right? And the more we can show other women to be proud of who they are and their culture and where they're from, the more they can be more free to be themselves versus like, trying to be someone else, or especially being Asian in a Western country, trying to assimilate to Western culture or trying to look white, even though we like, you can't, it's like you want the, you try to have the blonde hair, blue eyes, but it just doesn't work out. And what was that point in your life when you realized you can go out there and be who you are today? What was that aha moment?
It was a slow build. I mean, I'm trying to think if there was an exact moment, but there must have been a bunch of different moments. And I think it was seeing other women who, like Asian American women or Hispanic women, Native women, all of which I identify with, seeing them truly embrace who they are in a very outward, public, proud way, and just being like, wait, they're really cool, and being like, I want to do that. I want to be like them. I want to be proud of who I am, and I want to inspire other women, because I've always really, ever since I was a kid, just wanted to be an inspiration to someone. I've always wanted to be an outspoken advocate for like everything and anything, and I just wanted to be in the limelight, and I wanted to be a performer, and I just wanted to be out there. And so when I saw that other women were doing that and embracing themselves, I was like, wait, maybe I had it all wrong. Maybe I don't need to fit in and try to lighten my skin to be cool or to fit in, And so just looking up to other women, I mean, I remember when, one of the actors I really love was on Broadway. I mean, I love Lea Salonga, and she just always was so herself and so beautiful, and an Asian American woman. And once I started to really look up to her, I was like, wait, we can do this too, And also, like, on the other side, Rosario Dawson, she's like a Hispanic actress, and I always looked up to her, and I was like, you know what? There are women of color, there are women, Asian American women, Hispanic women who are killing it and are proud of themselves, and so I can do that too. So it really is looking at other women that really, really inspired me.
Thanks for sharing that. And it does make a huge difference when you see somebody, who has similar features like you, similar cultures, that makes us realize, like, if they could do it, we can do it. It just takes one person to prove it. And, we can we could see for ourselves, like, we don't have to be what people tell us to be. We could be who we want to be. We could be a singer, a dancer, an entrepreneur. Sky's the limit. And for me, this is one of the reasons why I created the podcast, was because representation is huge. And as Asian women, we're very underrepresented, and we just need better representation at the same time. And, because of your realizations, what's your life been like now?
Now it's been awesome. I mean, oh my gosh, I got this crazy message very recently from a young, like 15-year-old girl in Berkeley after my show. And, I played this song. It's called Change Your Name. And it's about my mom. And it's about how when she moved from Japan to the United States, she changed her name, from her Japanese name to her new American name. And so the story of the song is pretty much just it's her immigration story. And so I shared it on stage, and I told a little story about it, and how, I'm proud to be the daughter of an immigrant, and about how coming to terms with my identity, has been a lifelong journey for me, and that I constantly am battling, just, especially being mixed race, just kind of embracing my identity. And that's all happening in real time, and I've come a long way and whatnot. And so this girl, she messaged me, and she said that she's a half Japanese 15-year-old girl, and that hearing my song and my story, like, inspired her so much, and that she was so grateful that, like, there's an artist out there like me, and that she, like, couldn't wait to meet me and everything. And so I get messages like that a lot, and that is just the dream, because I know other women did that for me and inspired me. And so the fact that I'm inspiring others is just a dream come true, and it's very humbling. Yeah, that's kind of been the change since I started embracing and really leaning into the things that make me unique. I've embraced that light within me, and then I've been seeing the light in others, because we're like finding our people, because we're, we can't really find the people that we identify with unless we speak our truth. And so now that I'm speaking my truth, I'm finding them, and it's really special.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
I would say just to be very patient with yourself. It is not an overnight process at all. And there's just because you know that you want to be more self-confident or that you want to embrace who you are, doesn't mean that the next day you wake up, you're going to feel that way. It's not a straight line forward, and even now I feel so rooted in myself. I feel so proud of who I am and my family and where I come from. But, I still have days where I feel, I always call it my identity crisis days where I'm like, oh my gosh, because, being so mixed race, being like a quarter Japanese and a quarter Taiwanese and a quarter Mexican, quarter Native American, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not enough of any of these things to really be a part of any community. And that, makes me sad sometimes. And sometimes I get insecure again about being mixed race. And then I, have a couple days of feeling out of it. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, no. And then I embrace it even deeper and I feel even more self-confident. So my greatest advice is to be patient. And, the first step to change is acceptance. And so once you accept that you want to go on this journey to really embracing who you are, just little by little, just do those little things. Just start journaling about the things that make you sad or the things that make you jealous, and try to find the core and the root of those things and start to find people in your community that feel the same way, and really talk to people who understand. And it'll be a slow process, but you'll just see it happen before your eyes. And it's a beautiful journey. And so, but my greatest advice is to be patient.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And I totally agree. A lot of people feel like this is an overnight journey, but it's really like something you deal with for the rest of your life, because we'll always have new challenges. We're gonna have days where we're not 110% confident, which is why it's so necessary to work on ourselves and just realize it's all a process. So thanks again for sharing that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, you can find me at RayeZaragoza.com. It's RayeZaragoza.com. We're on Instagram at Raye Zaragoza, and on Facebook, everything Raye Zaragoza. And so, yeah, connect with me, send me a message. We'd love to hear from you. If you need any support, you can always message me.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Raye, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Raye's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Raye today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Raye.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.